Hello everyone, welcome to Caroline's Craftery. So today I am going to do a little challenge, and this challenge is Forgotten Treasures, and it's a collaboration thing with Lindsey from Nevermore Creations, Lonny at Art by Lonny, and Joanne at Junk Journal Treasures. It's a once a month thing, so check out their channels. I just printed all their stuff up. To make it easy, you can just freeze it and write down what you need. So this month's challenge is Forgotten Papers. So I've got a big mess here, sort of a mess, and I've got 3 projects that I'm going to share with you. So I'm just going to move some of this out of the way. And for my Forgotten Papers, I am using cards, old greeting cards, which is a paper, and I've got 3 different projects I want to show you. So let's get right into it so we don't run out of time. I have cut stuff out and inked it and all that stuff to make it easier. And all my old cards are dealing with die cuts that I've had for years. And a few little digitals thrown in there. So with this one, I had a whole bunch of these cut out. So I am going to go and I'm going to glue them up here, and then we're going to decorate it. So let's get going. Now, not everybody's going to be able to make these because they're not going to have the die cuts, but you don't need die cuts. You could just cut them out by hand, use a different shape. This is just to kind of give you an idea of what might you do with some die cuts. So I'm just putting the glue on half of that. I'm just going to glue it onto the bottom of this, trying to get it fairly even. Okay, so there's number 1. I'm just going to go up. I'm going to put the birdie on the top because we're going to end up seeing that one. So let's do, better do the yellow one. Okay. I've got so many die cuts. When I first started in junk journals, I didn't have a big shot or dies or fancy paper or anything like that. So when I go over to my friend's house, I would use hers and do a whole bunch of cutting and whatnot. Trying to get that fairly even on there. So I ended up with tons and tons of shapes and whatnot. And then I got my own die cut and my own dies, and all the ones that I had cut out just kind of sat there. Okay, I think I need to spread these out a little more. Put that one about there. I'm not going to see some of this anyways, because it's going to be covered up with how we decorate. As I said, you could use any shapes, any sizes. These were just all things that I had already, and I still have tons and tons that I need to use up. Okay. Once I got going on these, they actually went by quite quick. I'm going to try some of these with circles as well. But as I say, there's 3 different projects here that I've done, just using up a few of my die cuts. I still have so many. This one I'm just going to glue up the bottom part because the rest probably won't be on the These could be used as a belly band or just as a decoration. So now we have this here. And just to give you an idea of a measurement, the back piece is 1.5 by 5.5. And that'll be a good size for a belly band, I think. So this is a piece of Aida cloth. And this is from one of my digitals, which I just cut out. So I'm going to place that on the top. And actually most of the stuff I'm using are scraps and bits and pieces of odds and ends of everything. Okay, so let's just press that down. And for those that don't know what Aida cloth is, it's a cross-stitch material that frays really, really nice. So we got that, and that is going to get glued on the top of there. So I end up losing a lot of the little squares. So you could even just put a couple squares on the bottom and a couple at the top, and you would be fine. So let's glue this down. Just wanted to do a couple quick projects with this. I'm trying to do them fairly quickly because I wanted to show you all three things that I did with die cuts. So let's just get that in the middle. And you could use any pictures on the front that you wanted. Now I've got two little pieces of cheesecloth. I just choose pink because it's kind of what I had, and I'm going to put a little piece there and a little piece down here. Let's put a little bit of glue to hold that in. You could use fabric, you could use whatever. I say this was mostly about scraps, thinking of paper scraps to start with. So now I have some of, I don't know if you can see this, but it's like thread size, but it's called Flashaboo. I've used it in a couple projects now, and it is for fly tying. So you would have to get it from a fly tying store of some kind. Now I'm going to take, they're, I don't know, about a foot long. So, as I say, you probably can't see it in the camera, but it adds a nice sparkle. So I'm going to take and just fold it over a few times, and I'm going to lay it right on top of my cheesecloth. Just going to give a little bit of sparkle to that piece. And then I have this paper flower that I used, again, with cardstock. And I used the dies, cut it out, and then glued 3 of them together. I wish I could tell you where I got the dies from, but I don't know. I have had them for a long time, and a lot of them I bought new, or sorry, used, I mean. Now that's going to go right on top of the cheesecloth and on top of the Flashaboo stuff. Like say that Flashaboo, you could use shiny thread, you could use a little piece of tinsel, you could just put regular thread on there. Okay, now I want to just trim the Flashaboo to cut where I looped because I want them all individual ends. I'm not going to worry about the length of them too much. Now I've got another piece of the Flashaboo here. I've got probably 10, 12 different colors. Comes in different colors. It's all shiny type stuff. You would have to buy it from online or a fly fishing shop of some kind. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay that on top. Oh, I forgot to put my feather down. Darn. I was going to put a feather down underneath each one. But let's put a feather down on top of this one. Feathers again were something I've had for ages. And then I've just got a little applique that I'm going to put on the top part. Glue this down. Okay. And just hold that down for a second. And again, take my scissors. I want to cut my loops. And there we go. We have a belly band minus one feather. So here are some other ones I did, and you can see the feather there. But I think they turned out really, really cute. Let's just grab these and I can show you the ones that I did. I really, really like how they turned out. Now these squares are smaller ones, but I made them the same way. So I really, really like them. I think they're really cute. Okay. Next project is really, really simple. And it is these here like this. This is one piece. And the flowers were two different pieces which I glued together, and then I put something in the middle. Some of them I put a brad in the middle. So for this one, I have the die cut. And again, like I say, you could use any shapes, a flower, and a piece of eyelash trim. And I've used a couple of these. These are mounting squares. I got them with a whole bunch of stuff I bought from somebody, trying to use them up. So I put two of those on here already. Now this is strictly to hold the eyelash trim while I get ready to glue the flowers on. So I'm going to start my eyelash trim on top of the tape, just on the corner of it. And I'm going to just try to go around the oval in the middle of this shape, because I want it to stick out all the way around. You could even put more tape, but I find two is enough, because by the time I glue down the flower in the middle, it holds everything down. So now I'm just going to go around. Usually I try to go around twice because I want a fair bit of eyelash trim sticking out around the flower. Okay. And now we're going to glue the flower on there. I want to put quite a bit of glue on, just on the very center, and a little bit as I go out, because I want it to hold down through that eyelash trim. Okay. And again, this is all done with either old greeting cards or cardstock, scrapbooking cardstock, but mostly old greeting cards. I had a big, big box, just trying to hold that down good and tight. And that one's done. It's that quick and easy. Here is a bunch more I did with different types of flowers. Some are like boughten flowers. Some are flowers that I made. There's even a silk flower in here. These go great on a page, on a cover. Put a little strip behind them, make a belly band. Some have really long eyelash trim. Here's one made with a silk flower. So these are really cute too. I really like these. I've made these before and they work really good. Any color. Oh, there we go. And then I have a ton of hearts. So many hearts. So I've got all my little goodies in here that I used. Now I've got 2 hearts. They don't have to be exactly the same, but you need 2 hearts per section. So I've got 4 different sizes. And then we've got some other goodies that I'll show you in a second. And we need some thread. Now I'm using this thread. It's quite thin, but it's really strong. So I've got 2 little hearts. You can see the difference. Just 4 different sizes of hearts. You could use 3, you could use 5, you can use as many as you want. So these were the ones that I happen to have cut out. So the first little one I'm going to put upside down and put a tiny little bit of glue right in the middle because I want to put my string on there. So let's just put the string in the glue, and I hope you can see, but I've got the thread going right up at the point of the heart. Now I'm going to take the other one and I'm going to glue them together and sandwich that thread between them. So there's that. Now I usually pick up my hearts and then I can push them together and kind of line them up. Now if you want to do this by hand, you could put 2 pieces of cardstock together and then cut the hearts out so they're both the same size. So there is number 1. Now I'm going to take the second one. Now you can see these aren't the same, but they're pink. It doesn't really matter because you can only see one side at a time. Upside down. This one I'm going to put just a little line of glue right down the center of the heart. And now I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put my thread in there, and I'm going to leave just a tiny little bit. Just hold it a second. I maybe have 1/8 of an inch in between the hearts. And that's just to allow them to flow a little bit. And then I'm going to take the other one. Get rid of that blob of glue. The other one that's the same size. And I'm going to glue these 2 together. Again, sandwiching my thread in between them. And same thing, I'm going to put this one down. And I'm going to pick it up. And then I can kind of push them together to try to get them to line up the best I can. So there's number 2, and now it's going to hang. That's the idea, is it's going to hang. And I'm going to take my next one, and same thing. Little dab of glue right down the center. And then put my thread in the glue. And again, leaving that little bit in between the hearts. And once again, glue up the back. Glue them together. I like using the cardstock, like the old greeting cards for this, because the greeting cardboard is pretty tough. and it's strong. So I really like it, and it's a good way to use them up, especially for the flowers and whatnot. So there's that. So again, it's going to hang, they're going to dangle, etc. Now we got the third one, and same thing. Put my string down the middle. Now you could leave more space in between them, less space. I just found about 1/8 of an inch seemed to be a good size. And one more time of gluing this up. Put them together. Get them as even as I can. You could ink these. I haven't inked them, but you could. Now, I want to clip off this thread. Oops. Tangled around my other little heart. Could have trimmed this off before I glued them together, but I wasn't thinking. Okay, so there we have 4 hearts glued together so they kind of dingle dangle. Now, next step, you can see a finished one here, and I think they turned out really, really cute. So I've got a bulb pin, a little tiny grommet, a heart charm of some kind, and a jump ring. So the grommet's going to go in, the jump ring will go around it, and the garment pin is for hanging it up. I use this tool here. It's by 3M, no, Making Memories, and it's a grommet setter, and it works perfect. So I'm just going to put a little dot about where I want the grommet. I'll use my crocodile thing to punch my hole. I don't like that for putting in the grommets. I really prefer this 3M thing. It works so good. Okay, I've got to do this off a camera because I do it right on the corner leg of my desk. And this turns, so then you just push it down and it applies the pressure to the grommet. And it goes on all the time. Really, really good. So I'll just turn the sound off because it is noisy. Okay, so there is my grommet in there. Took me 4 little pushes on this thing, and it goes in perfect every time. Okay, now I've got 2 pair of pliers. I'm going to open up the grommet, or the jump ring, sorry. I'm going to put on the charm. And now I'm just going to feed that through the grommet. The reason I'm putting on the jump ring, so then the garment pin sits at a better angle for hanging. And the garment pin is going to go on there. And there we have the charm. So when it goes on the page, do I have an empty page? Hold on, just trying to find an empty page. So So then it's going to hang on a page like so. And I think that's really, really cute. So, and speaking of pages, this is a freebie that I'm offered up on my new Facebook group. So there's a link in the description of the video, so you can check out my group. I just started it a couple days ago. So these are my projects for the Forgotten Treasures. I hope you like them. I hope you will try them and use up some of those forgotten things that we had hidden away. Like all these die cuts that I've had that I've just been avoiding digging out and using them. But there are 3 different projects, all with die cuts. And like I say, feel free to cut them out by hand or use different shapes, experiment. It just kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of something that you can make. And we will see you again soon. Bye.